Last month, we spoke about the 5 love languages. And this month, I want us to talk about, or start to talk about, the dialects of love. The dialects of love. The 5 love languages was what we talked about last month. And I want to take a step forward and talk about the dialects of love. Just to recap, um, some of the things that we said last month. We said a lot about love languages, and we're also able to share and to talk about the different love languages and how to also discover what love language you have as a person. So we said, for example, that a person, everybody has a language, right? So you are either you either speak Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa, or whatever it is, as the case may be. You speak a particular language. And I said that if two people meet themselves, let's say one person is Igbo, the other person is Yoruba, and they are attracted to each other, they love each other, right? And they are attracted to each other. Let's not even say love, but they are attracted to each other. And then the Igbo guy approaches the Yoruba lady and begins to speak Igbo to this Yoruba lady. And this lady, Yoruba lady, responds in Yoruba. What would happen is that there would be a state of confusion because the Yoruba lady would not understand what the Igbo guy is saying. The Igbo guy would not understand what the Yoruba lady is saying. Troubles. Yeah. And because they won't understand what they are saying, that would connote confusion. So what started as attraction would become confusion. And as they persist to have that conversation, they would graduate from confusion to frustration because the Yoruba lady and the Igbo guy would also get frustrated and they would be like, I'm not sure I understand what you're saying. As much as I like you, I don't understand what you're saying. And frustration would ultimately lead to separation because if we can't understand ourselves, we'd rather go our separate ways. And I said that's why a lot of people actually divorce, break up, and what have you, and have serious conflicts in marriage and relationships because they don't understand each other's love language. One person is speaking one language while the other person is speaking another language. So there's confusion, frustration, and ultimate separation. Even when it is not physical, it is emotional. So there's an emotional separation that happens between the individuals. So we said that there are 5 love languages. We said, before I talk about the 5 love languages, we said that love language is simply how you want to be loved and how you prefer to love other people. Love language is how you prefer, how you want other people to love you, right? So we said that you don't love people on your terms, you love people on their terms. You don't love people on your terms, you love people on their terms. So you don't say, this is how I know how to love. You love them how they want to be loved or how they need to be loved. Right? And we now spoke about the 5 love languages. Number one, we said there is what is called quality time. And these are people who like you to spend time with them. There are people who feel love when you spend both quantity time and quality time. Right? I thought about the difference between quality time and quantity time. To say quantity time is the amount of time spent together, while quality time is the activities that we get to do with the time that we are spending together. So people who have the love language of quality time actually appreciate both quality time and quantity time. Sometimes you just want it to be around, you just want to be seeing your face and you are seeing theirs. But at other times, most often than not, they all want you to engage in different activities together. That's quality time. The other one we said is words of affirmation. We said these are people who like it when you say nice things to them, when you affirm them with your words. These are people who like it when you appreciate them, compliment them, and what have you. They have words of affirmation as a love language. Words mean a lot to them. So they want to hear thank you, I love you, I'm sorry. It doesn't matter how many times you've told them I love you, for example, they still want to hear it every other time. So if you have a partner like that, for example, the person would say, it's been long you told me I love you. And you're like, I just told you yesterday. Because for them, yesterday's I love you does not suffice for today. You have to say I love you almost every other day because they want to keep hearing it. So that is words of affirmation. We also talked about receiving gifts. We said people who are receiving gifts as a love language are people who like it when you gift them things, when you give them things. And we said that the size of the gift is not as relevant as the consistency and the person from which that gift is coming. That is what is important to them. How often? So they would rather, for example, you give them small gifts consistently than give them big gifts once in a while. And they also give gifts and reciprocate that as a love language as well. And we talked about acts of service. These are people who like it when you serve them, people who like it when you do things for them, when you are there for them, when you are involved with the project with them. They have acts of service as a love language. And we spoke about people finally who have physical touch as a love language. These are people who like it when you give them non-sexual touches, emphasis on non-sexual touches. They like it when you give them a pat on the back, you give them a peck, hold their hands, put your hands around their shoulders. These things mean a lot to them. They are affirming and reaffirming to them. So these are the 5 love languages. But then I want to talk about the dialects of love. To say that within every language there are dialects, right? Yeah. So the Igbo culture or the Igbo language has many dialects. In fact, I don't even know how to speak my dialects. If I even the general one, do I even know how to speak very well? But I maybe I should even say I don't know. I don't even understand fully my dialect. Maybe I understand 10 or 20%. 80% of what people say in my dialect I don't understand. But I understand Igbo, but my dialect is a bit more complex. You see, the same thing within the Yoruba culture. There are dialects. Abi, within you, there's Ijebu, there's Ibadan, right? Yoruba within the Yoruba culture. Yeah. And same thing in every other language. Even within Edo, am I correct? There's Ishan. I know there's Ishan. There are a lot of other languages. Even in Delta, for example, you have Yoruba, Isoko, Ikwane. Those are all dialects within the same language. The same thing within every love language are dialects of love. To say these are specific things. Dialect is a version of language spoken by a specific group of people. Love dialect now speaks to the specificities of how love is expressed. The specificities of how love is expressed. To say that the dialects of love now say that yes, I know quality time is a love language, but then there are now specific things I need to speak when I'm speaking the love language of quality time. I know words of affirmation is a love language, but there are now specific things I need to speak when I'm speaking the language of quality time. I know acts of service is a love language, but there are specific things I need to say, I need to do in order to properly communicate the love language of acts of service. The same thing with receiving gifts and physical touch. Am I communicating? Are we together? Yeah. So today I want us to focus on words of affirmation. I want to focus on words of affirmation as a love language and then talk about the dialects of words of affirmation. To say yes, there's a word of affirmation as a love language, but there are specific things that people who have words of affirmation as a love language are looking out for, and you should also look out for when speaking that love language. Is anybody here that has words of affirmation as a love language? Anybody? That's your primary love language. Nobody. Okay, I think my brother said last month that that's his primary love language. Yeah. So there are dialects that you must use, and there are dialects you must also avoid. Yeah, because as much as we talk about the things you must use, we must also talk about the things you must avoid. And those are the things we want to talk about today. Number one is the dialect of encouraging words. Can somebody say encouraging words? Encouraging words are words that people who have words of affirmation as a love language look forward to hearing. Yeah. In fact, in fact, um, the I think it was, I've forgotten who said this, but the person said that, I didn't call my charger, so don't bother. Just leave it. That encouragement is an oxygen of the soul. Encouragement is an oxygen of the soul. So everyone has a need to be encouraged. Everyone has a need to be encouraged. But specifically, people who have words of affirmation as a love language like and want to be encouraged. So encouraging words are a major part of their love language. They want you to encourage them. And encouragement is not forcing them or forcing the other person to do what they don't want to do. Encouragement is finding what they are interested in and encouraging them to either start doing it or to keep doing it. You am I communicating? Yeah, because sometimes in the bid to encourage people, people can begin to fall. Oh, you people are not interested in doing this. You are now trying to force them to do it. But it is saying that, okay, you have an interest in this area, then I begin to encourage you to pursue that interest. You see, those are encouraging words. Those are encouraging words. It therefore means that you want to also desist from using discouraging words. From using discouraging words. Words that discourage, words that pull down, words that make the other person feel less of himself. There are people who you speak to about projects and things you want to do, and they have nothing nice to say about it. They have nothing good to say about it. Yeah. And many times people are speaking out of their insecurities. And it's not like you see, many times people are speaking from their own limitations. So when you meet somebody, for example, and you are telling them, I have this project, and I feel like, I'm going to be able to do this. I want to do that. I need 100 million naira to do this project. And they're like, what are you talking about? Did your father see 100 million? Did your grandfather see 100 million? You see, they are talking from their own limitations because they themselves have never seen 100 million. They have never handled 100 million. They have never done a project that is up to 100 million. So you can't blame them because they are speaking of their own insecurities. And that's how a lot of people speak. But you must make sure that you are not that person that speaks out of these insecurities. You must see the possibilities in people even when they don't see it in themselves. Yeah. You must see the possibilities in people even when they don't see it in themselves. You must learn to encourage people. When people come to you, for example, and you can even see that this person is not going to work, never be the person to discourage them. Because the question is, what if it works? What if it works? Because even though you can see that it might not work, you cannot tell certainly that it will not work. Because you're not God. Am I communicating? Yeah. There are things at times you have said, this is not going to work. And it ended up working. And you are surprised, wow, this worked. So you don't want to be final in how you advise people and say this is not going to work, man. No, because it might just end up working. Yeah. So the least you want to do is to encourage them. Say, okay, even if you see that this is not going to work, what do you want to do? You want to say, okay, I like this idea. That's encouragement. Wow, this idea is so powerful. I love it. Nice one. Okay. But what do you think about this? What about if we approach this idea this way? What if we do it that other way? You see, I have not discouraged you from pursuing that idea, but I've given you different perspectives. You see, yeah, I've encouraged you to pursue it, but I've given you different perspectives, even when I think that it's not going to work. Because, like I said, it might end up working. Because people have their black books and their white books. And the people who discourage them would always end up in their black books. People who encourage them will end up in their white books. Am I communicating? Yeah. And you don't want to be in the black book of people's success stories. When somebody is now giving a speech 20 years from now and now says, I just want to thank God for how far He has brought me. 20 years ago when I started this project and started this career, a lot of people did not believe in me. In fact, I went to one of them and they said this will never happen. And they are talking about you. because you have entered their black book. Yeah, you want to be a part of people's white books, where they can say, 20 years ago I didn't believe in myself. I had doubts about this project. I had doubts about this thing, but I met this person, and they encouraged me. You see, they gave me different perspectives. I'm not saying be encourage people to be unreasonable. I'm not saying encourage people's pipe dream. There's something called pipe dream. A pipe dream is a dream that is only talk. It cannot come to fruition. There are times people talk and this one is just it's a pipe dream. For example, if somebody comes to me now and says, sir, I have the vision to be Nigeria's president in 2027 from this church. That's a pipe dream. That one I will not encourage. I will tell you that, see, okay, this is a pipe dream. It's not realistic. But if you come to me, for example, and say, I have a vision, I want to be Nigeria's president in the next 30 years. Yeah. You might not look like it now. I might look like you and say, I want to be Nigeria's president. You are doing. You are not even coming to church every week. Are you sure you can be Nigeria's president? But that I know that's a dream that even though your present realities don't show a lot of potential, but I can see that there's some possibility in it. I will encourage you. It's okay. But then I'll give you perspective. If you want to be Nigeria's president, you cannot be the way you are behaving right now. You have to make certain adjustments. You see? That is encouraging words. Encouraging words. Another dialect for words of affirmation is kind words. Can somebody say kind words? Kind words. Saying words that are kind. You see, we can use words that build up people, and we can also use words that destroy people. I know there are people, for example, who have mastered destructive words. They say things not just to describe the situation, but to indict you and to make so that they say things. I'm looking for the word. They say things to pain you. That's the word. They know that if they tell you, for example, that this thing that you are doing is not good, it won't pain you. They would rather use this thing you are doing is very stupid, so that it will pain you. Those are unkind words. You want to replace those vocabularies. You see, there is something called the vocabulary of success, and there are also vocabulary for love, vocabulary for nurturing other people. You want to replace unkind words with kind words. Yeah, unkind words with kind words. So say even when somebody does something stupid, your partner does something stupid, you don't have to say that you just did something stupid. You see, you can use another word that is kind to still describe what they have done that is obviously stupid. Am I communicating? Yeah. For example, you can say, "Oh, what you just did right now, it doesn't make a lot of sense." You see, that one is harsh, or that one is harsh. Or you can say, "What you just did right now, there are better ways to have done this, and what you just did right now didn't sit well with me," or what you just did right now is not the best way to have done what you just did. There are other ways, there are alternative ways to have done this. You see, other than saying what you just did right now doesn't make any sense at all. You are very stupid. You see, those are unkind words. You want to replace them with kind words. Yeah, because remember that you are kind. You are a believer, and the Bible said in Romans 5 verse 5 that the love of God has been shed in your heart by the Holy Ghost. So it means that you have love. And there are two characteristics of love in scripture. In 1 Corinthians 13, two definitions for love. Other things that he mentioned or characterized love as were things love were not. Love is not puffed up. Love does not envy. Love is not. Those are things love are not. But then he said two things that love is, and that is patience and kindness. Patience and kindness. And that's why those are maybe the two litmus tests to actually decipher if somebody loves you. So say, are they patient with me? And are they kind? Yeah. You don't look for somebody who is nice. No. You look for somebody who is kind. Niceness is not the same thing as kindness. Am I communicating? Yeah. So you want to look for patience and you want to look for kindness. Those are the two characteristics you look out for. And kindness would always play out in words, in the things that you are saying. I will know whether or not you are kind by the words you are speaking. The words you are speaking will tell me how kind you are. Yeah. If you are rash and brash, then I know you are not kind. Because kind people are careful with their words. Are careful with their words. You see, for example, if you drive in Lagos and you don't insult people, the fruit of the Holy Ghost is at work in you 100%. You drive in Lagos. Guess what? I try. It's not easy, but it's by training. You train yourself. You train yourself. You see. So what I've learned to do is to sometimes replace abusive words with other types of words that are not abusive, with non-abusive words. So for example, I can say, you're a funny person. When I say you're a funny person, I'm not saying that you are a comedian. I'm not saying that you crack me and I laugh. When I say you're a funny person, just like I told somebody many years ago, I said, you are very funny. I said, really, sir? I didn't know. It now pained me the more that she did not get what I was saying. That you are very funny is, you are very stupid. But I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say you are very stupid. I said you are very funny. She said, sir, are you serious? I didn't know. And she wasn't sarcastic. She actually thought that I literally meant that she was very funny. I said, God. You see? So I tried to replace those words. And if you are somebody, for example, who is struggling, and I did a full series for about 2 or 3 months on the power of words. You might want to go and listen to it. I think it's on YouTube. The power of words. Because words are very critical. In fact, many times in relationships, words would either destroy that relationship or build it. Many times, when people say we have irreconcilable differences, what they're actually saying is that we have spoken words that are irreconcilable. Because really, there are things you say that are almost impossible to reverse. Am I communicating? Yeah. So if you are struggling, you must be able to practice how to say nice words. For some of us, it's not your fault. Maybe you grew up in an abusive home where you were. There are people who grew up in homes where they are woken up with a. Yes. You know what it is? Curses. And they are sent back to sleep with a. When they are sleeping, are you still sleeping? Fool, goats. You see? And you wonder why they grow up and begin to behave like goats. That's a prophecy of their future. That's why you must never call your children that. You must never call your younger ones that. Never. Never. You must change those words. And if you grew up in this kind of environment, you will most likely pick up those vocabularies. Because, see, let me tell you, when a child is between 1 and 2, their vocabulary is between about 100 to it's between about 10 to 100 words. 10 to 100 words. That's why you must be careful with things you see around the child, because its capacity for words is limited at that age. So the things you say predominantly around him are the things he will pick as words. That's why we don't notice that people pick up, both children and adults, negative words faster than positive ones. Yeah. So when somebody is even learning a language, the first thing they learn and the negative things of that language. Insults. Bad words are the things they learn first. The same thing with a child. So that's how a lot of people grow up, and then the vocabulary they are used to are abusive, insulting. So they really don't know how to communicate, so that even when they are friendly with you, they are able to insulting you. Mumu, how far now? Fool or dead. I say you like goats. And they are playing, they're not fighting with you. You see? Because those words are formed an active part of their vocabulary. You see, in English language, we have active vocabulary and passive vocabulary. Active vocabulary are vocabularies that you use often. Passive vocabularies are vocabularies you know but don't use often. You see? And you must make sure that your active vocabulary are words that are kind words. And like I said, it's something you want to practice. You want to begin to practice, especially if you grew up in this kind of environment. So, kind words is a dialect of words of affirmation. Kind words. So begin to practice it. Begin to replace those unkind words with kind words. Begin to replace those unkind words with kind words. Are we communicating? Are we together? I want to tell you communicating. I'm the one that's communicating. So replace those words. Then the third dialect of a word of affirmation is appreciation. Can someone say appreciation? Appreciation is something that you want to also make a major part of your active vocabulary, where appreciation becomes a lifestyle. Because where people who have words of affirmation as a love language want to hear you appreciate them a lot. Now, you don't have to wait for big things to appreciate people. You can start appreciating people even from small things. I've always said it. See, even when people do things that they are supposed to do, still appreciate them for it. Even when people do things that quote and unquote they were supposed to do, still what? Appreciate them for it. Somebody cooks for you. Not like Josephine that collects money for free. Even if she collects money, don't say, I paid her now. What am I thanking her for? Did she collect money? Was it free? No. Because what if she poisoned the food? And you still pay for your debt? You pay to die. So still thank her. Am I communicating? Yeah. See, that's why I tell people, see. When people say, I cannot trust anybody, I say, it's a lie. Shut up. You trust people. Everybody trusts people. Hello. You trust people. Say, I cannot trust anybody. The person you bought food from, there was a level of trust you invested in that person for you to have bought food from the person. What if they poison it? You never thought about poisoning. You didn't say, bingo, test this food first to know whether there's poison. You bought it and ate it, but say you don't trust anybody. You trusted the food sellers. You entered the bus. You didn't ask for the driver's license. You didn't say, driver, show me your driver's license. Might even know whether it's a bit drive. You entered the bus, sat there, trusted that the driver will take you from that destination to the next one. That's trust. Am I communicating? Yeah. So everybody trusts people. Yeah. Because you even need trust to survive. Am I communicating? Yeah. But we must learn to appreciate people. The little acts of kindness should be appreciated. Somebody does anything for you. Yeah. I remember when I appreciated a bike man. The guy was surprised. He took me to my destination. I said thank. I gave him money. I said thank you. That was the first time anybody thanked him in his entire life. Because he's wondering, you paid me. Because you could have killed me on the road. Am I communicating? Yeah. So thank you, for example. I'm sorry. Oh, that was a great job. You did really well. Appreciation. You see? Yeah. Appreciation. Those are words you want to use. And to add to that is compliment. Is what? Compliments. Those are also parts of the dialect of love. Compliment. Learn to compliment people. You see? Learn to compliment people. And you must be intentional about this. You know, I read many years ago, I read a book by Zig Ziglar, See You at the Top. And in that book, he spoke about appreciation, the power of appreciation, and how that he would take out 3 by 5 cards, and then he would write, so for example, you can say, I like Bukola because, so he would write certain things he likes about Bukola. I like Bukola because she is generous, she is disciplined, she is hardworking. I like Josephine because she is committed, she is service oriented, she is studious. I like Nonso because he is this, he is that. Let me say something about Nonso. So I don't be as I'm passionate. I like Nonso, and this is I'm saying them, not those are as examples, as things I actually like about you. I like Nonso because he is consistent, He is down to earth. I like him also because he is respectful. You see? Now, he did that, and he gave it to all his friends and everyone around him. Those cards. And I remember I implemented it. I said, this is something that is worth doing. So I bought a cardboard and I cut those cardboards into different parts. And I wrote those words. I like this person because, and I give them to, I just put them in my pocket. So when I see them, my friends, I say, I have something for you, I'll give them. I'll give them. You see? And now, not everybody will appreciate at the same level, especially if they don't have words of affirmation. Anybody who has words of affirmation as a love language, that card will mean the world to them. There's a friend of mine who has words of affirmation as a love language. I wrote him a letter, and he was the one that taught me because he wrote me letters first. Can you imagine? A guy writing a letter to a guy. He will write me letters, handwritten letters, about how much he values our friendship, how much he loves me, and it's not gay, please. But he will write those letters to me and package them and give it to me. Yeah, I think I still have some of those letters somewhere, and I decided to reciprocate too. So I decided to also write him letters, and also some of my friends. Some of those letters I wrote to, he kept them, filed them. You see, yeah, because people appreciate words differently. People have words of affirmation as a love language. Those, write them a letter. When they die in their ripe old age, those letters will still be there. That's how much they value words. Words mean a lot to them. Yeah. So this is an idea for somebody here. So you want to, for example, try what I read in See You at the Top by Zig Ziglar, and also do it for your friends, your family. You see, because let me tell you, some of us, we have never appreciated our parents before. We have taken for granted the fact that they have done whatever it is. You can say, after I'm their child. Are you aware that people have killed their own children? Hello? That's why an adult, you're an adult, full-blown adult, you're not saying your mother is a witch. You are a witch. Hello? Hello? Full-blown adult, you say your mother is a witch, you are the witcher. Your mother had the opportunity to kill you when you were one, she did not kill you. It's not when you are old that you say your mother wants to kill you. Be reasonable. Go and look for what he's doing you, it's not your mother. Am I communicating? Go and look for what he's doing you, it is not your mother. You go to places that is your mother. You now start fighting with your mother. And you must understand, for those of us whose mothers are still alive, our mothers are not going to be here forever. Our fathers are not going to be here forever. The truth is that they are closer to the departure lounge of life today than they were last year. For some of our parents, they will live more than the next 20 years, 30 years. Hello? It is not a cause, it is the truth, because they are old. My mom, for example, is 70 plus. How much longer she does? Let's say God bless her, and that's what my prayer. She needs another 30 years. You see? So appreciate them over their life. It's not that when they're not, people, we do this a lot in Africa. When people die, we start writing eulogies. You start saying writings, I just want to, this person. But you have never appreciated the person all the time, all of the while the person was alive. Never did you tell them how much they meant to you. Never did you tell them how much whatever it is they have done for you meant to you. You have never. But now they are dead and you are all over the place. Writing articles. You have become an author. But when the person was alive, you never appreciated them. You must change. Hello? We must what? See, look for opportunities, genuine opportunities to appreciate people. And I will give you some of those opportunities. Birthdays, anniversaries. You see, those are opportunities to genuinely appreciate people. And if you want to stand out in people's lives and hearts, appreciate them on a day that is not either of those days I just mentioned. Because we all know most people will appreciate them on their birthdays. Most people will send them nice text messages and what have you on their birthdays. Most people will send them nice stuff on their anniversaries. But on a random day, when they are not even expecting it, it's not their birthday, it's not wedding anniversary, it's not anything, just send a thank you note. Just write something beautiful about it. Let them be surprised. Like, this is not my birthday. What's going on? Give those people those kind of feelings. You place yourself in a special place in your heart when you do that. And beyond just placing yourself in a special place in your heart, it is genuinely appreciating people because you love them and you appreciate them. Am I communicating? Yeah. Don't wait till people die before you appreciate them. Appreciate people genuinely from your heart. If somebody does something for that, this is my rule of thumb. If somebody does something for you, never forget. If you do something for somebody, never remember. Can I say that one more time? If somebody does something for you, never forget. If you do something for anybody, never remember. Huh? In what sense?
Like if somebody does something bad to you, then never forget.
Of course, that's good. I'm talking about good, not bad. Bad the other way around. If somebody does something for you, something to you bad, don't remember. Forget it. Forgive them, right? Forgive and forget. That's what we preach. Yeah. Then if you do something bad to somebody, don't forget to make sure you go and apologize and make things right. Am I communicating? Yeah. So appreciate people, compliment people. And if when they compliment you, please accept the compliment. There's some people that will say, you are beautiful. Say, I'm not beautiful. Hello, ma. Hello, ma. Hello, ma. Hello, ma. See. Hey, calm down. Stop it. You know that you are fine. But you just want them to keep saying it so that you never blush it. I know they want me. I'm not fine, Joe. I will not say, oh, that's true. I actually made a mistake. I think you are okay. So please appreciate compliments. When people compliment you, then thank you. Oh, really? Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Right? Yeah. And when people see, there's another one to some people do. They say, nah, I know. Don't tell me you, even though you know, don't need to tell me. So you are beautiful. Say, I know. No, sir. We know you know. Just say thank you. Don't say I know. I know. Except when you know the person has an ulterior motive. That's when you say I know, so that the person doesn't go further. But when you know it's a genuine compliment, accept it. Like, oh, really? Thank you so much. Am I communicating? Yeah. And then finally is humble words. Humble words. Yeah. This is request versus demand. To say that when you, especially your partner, you must understand that with your partner, you guys are partners, right? Yes, I know in marriage somebody takes the lead as the husband, but it doesn't still mean that you are not primarily partners. So it's important that when you speak to them, don't speak to them as children, because sometimes a lot of people don't know the difference. They speak to their partners and they are speaking to their child. Your partner is not your child. You don't speak to them like you're speaking to your child. You speak to them as equal partners, as adults. Am I communicating? Yeah, because if you met somebody like your partner outside, you will most likely not speak to them the way you are speaking to your partner. You'll be more respectful. Am I communicating? Yeah. So don't speak to them like you're speaking to a child. Speak to them as people. You know, there are some people sometimes when I speak to their partners, I'm wondering, this person is an adult. Yeah, this person has a brain. They are speaking to them as if they cannot think and they don't have a brain. You see? And you must also be able to differentiate between requests and demand. To say, if I want my partner to do something, right, what I do is to request for them to do it and not to demand for them to do it. Say, can you please help me do this? Or can you please do this? And not to demand that they do it. Please, can you just do this thing? So some people sometimes they are very sarcastic. They say, so this thing you have not cleaned this house. Maybe goats will start living here very soon. That's not how you want to communicate. You see? Yeah. So instead of saying something like, whatever it is you call the person, could you please, or would you be available to clean the house by weekend? Or can you please clean the house, by weekend or something? That's a request as against a demand. It's very, 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 very important that we do that. So, I want to share some practicals as I round off. Some practicals. Some practicals. Number one, to remind yourself, and I took this from a book, by Gary Chapman, the Love Pipe Language. I saw that it was very good. I tried to share. Number one, it says to remind yourself that words of affirmation is your spouse's primary love language. Print the following on a 3x5 card and put it on a mirror or other place where you see it daily. Words are important. Words are important. Words are important. So if you have a partner, for example, or you have someone like we said, it doesn't have to even be a partner. It could be your father, it could be your mom. That you're seeing that, okay, my mom, when I say nice things about her, it feels good. And so, see, how do you know that it's someone's love language? When you praise them, they are motivated. They will, just like your brother, they are not motivated to do certain things even more. That's how you know. So you want to place somewhere around you and let them know that words are important. Words are important. To let yourself know rather that words are important. Number two, 1 week, keep a written record of all the words of affirmation you give your spouse each day. At the end of the week, sit down with your spouse and review your record. So on Monday, I said you did a great job on this meal. You really look nice in that outfit. I really appreciate your picking up the laundry. On Tuesday, I said this, right? Just so that you see. I understand that some of this might sound mechanical, but sometimes you have to start mechanical for you before you can graduate to automatic. Hello? You start mechanical, then it becomes systemic, and then it becomes automatic, right? And that's why even in spiritual things, some people they want their prayer life or word life to be automatic before it is mechanical. It doesn't work that way. There are days you will be excited to pray, there are days you will not. There are days you will be excited to read the Bible, there are days you will not. So you can't wait till you feel like reading your Bible before you read it. You can't wait till you feel like praying before you pray. No, you must have a system around praying. Have a system around reading your Bible. So that even when I don't feel like it, you're going to do it. But one thing about it is that as you continue to do it, after a while, you realize that you start feeling like doing it. Am I communicating? Then number three, set a goal to give your spouse a different compliment each for 1 month. If an apple a day keeps the doctor away, maybe a compliment a day will keep the counselor away. You may want to record these compliments also, so you will not duplicate these statements. So you can say, okay, I want to do a challenge. So for the next 30 days, I want to give my partner a different compliment each day. You can write them out and then send it to them every day. Number four, as you read the newspaper, magazines and books, or watch TV, or listen to radio, look for words of affirmation which people use. Observe people in conversation. Write those affirming statements in a notebook. If they are cartoons, clip and paste them in your notebook. Read through this periodically and select those you could use with your spouse. When you use one, note the date on which you used it. Your notebook may become your logbook. Remember, words are important. Yeah. So when you see certain words, write them down. Especially if words are important to your spouse or anybody that you love around you. When you see certain things, say, okay, I must use these words. I must say this thing to my partner. Number five, write a love letter. You know, I told you my friends to write a love letter to me. Love letter is not outdated for somebody who has words of original as a love language. It's not outdated. Yeah? You don't say, that one are old school. Hello, sir. Even if you just can be electronic, you can send them. I know of couples, a friend of mine, he does this with his wife. They send themselves mails. Yeah, mails. She has a mail address. You just write love and send them their mail. See? And they save it. Because remember, love has deposits and withdrawal. Everybody has a love bank. And in your love bank, you make deposits and you make what? Withdrawals. Those deposits are important.
Because the day, for example, those couples who are intentional about these things, the day something happens, there's a conflict, somebody makes a mistake, those deposits will mean a lot. The person will remember that this person lost me. You see? Because sometimes in conflict, and when people mess up, one of the major questions is, does this person really love me? Why would they do something like this? It's that they don't love me anymore. But if you have made deposits, they will know that you love them, even though you have made that mistake. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So write a love letter, a love paragraph, or a love sentence. When to him or her, when he dies, you will find your love letter tucked somewhere and give it quietly or with fanfare. Chances in some special places. The words are important. Number 6, compliment your spouse in the presence of his parents or friends. You will get double credit. Hello? Compliment your spouse in the presence of what? His parents or his friends. You will get double credit. Your spouse will always feel loved, and the parents will feel lucky to have such a grandson, son-in-law or daughter-in-law. Number 7, look for your spouse's strengths and tell her or him how much you appreciate those strengths. Chances are she will work harder to live up to her reputation. Number 8, tell your children how great their mother or father is. Do this behind your spouse's back and in her presence. Number 9, write a poem describing how you feel about your spouse. If you are not a poet, like me, choose a card that expresses how you feel. Underline special words and add a few of your own at the end. Number 10, finally, if you find speaking words of affirmation is difficult, if you find that speaking words of affirmation is difficult for you, practice in front of a mirror. Use a cue card if you must, and remember, words are important. That's why we'll wrap it up for today.